Jay-Z's lawyer Alex Spiro has filed a motion for sanctions. Spiro wants Alex Busby and his law firm to pay a huge fine for the lawsuit against Jay-Z. This Alex Spiro guy does not quit. The judge already warned him for doing personal attacks against Busby. He kind of did it again, but some of it's warranted. There are a lot of inconsistencies in the story of the girl that is suing Jay-Z. I'm gonna read the full motion here. Hit subscribe. Here we go, boys. Defendant Sean Carter respectfully submits this memorandum of law in support of his motion for monetary sanctions against plaintiff's counsel Anthony Busby and the Busby law firm, and to dismiss plaintiff's First Amendment complaint pursuant to Rule 11C of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure. So Jay-Z's lawyers asking the judge to fine Anthony Busby, and we're gonna see why right here. While the allegations stated in the complaint in this case are gravely serious and injurious to Mr. Carter's hard-won reputation, many of them on their face strain the outer bounds of credulity, and none of them appears to have subjected to even the most rudimentary diligence by filing attorney who initially signed his name to them and has since declined to withdraw them. Because the federal rules and professional ethics require more of a filing attorney, Mr. Carter now respectfully seeks appropriate sanctions. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 11B3 requires every attorney who signs a complaint to certify to the best of the person's knowledge, information, and belief formed after an inquiry reasonable under circumstances, the factual contentions have evidentiary support, or if specifically so identified, will likely have evidentiary support after a reasonable opportunity for further investigation or discovery. Judges in this district and elsewhere have long held plaintiffs may not file a complaint in this court without having a reasonable investigation of the facts. So they're pointing this out because I'm pretty sure Tony Busby now blames another law firm for vetting Jane Doe, the lady that's suing Jay-Z. Like he's like saying, oh, I didn't vet her, someone else vetted her for me. Like he didn't do any of the investigative work vetting his client to see if her allegations actually have any evidence or anything backing them up. He's just saying someone else did it. That rule accords with the rules of professional conduct, which prohibit any attorney from knowingly asserting material factual statements that are false. Those basic guardrails on litigation are critical to the integrity of judicial process. The court relies on attorneys to conduct a reasonable investigation into the facts alleged in a complaint to avoid wasting judicial and party resources litigating meritless claims. So that statement right there, the court relies on attorneys to conduct a reasonable investigation. Busby straight up admitted that he didn't do that himself. Another firm did it for him. However, in this case, where the allegations assert outrageous or criminal conduct, an attorney's certification that the allegations are reasonably supported by evidence ensures that parties cannot improperly use statements in judicial filings, often shielded from defamation and liability by litigation privilege, to impugn the reputations of innocent people or attempt to extract unwarranted settlements. I say this all the time in my videos. I'm not a law expert. I don't know everything. Nowhere near. I'm just a dumb ginger kid that tries to dumb this down for people. I didn't know this, so that's cool. Plaintiff's lead attorney, Anthony Busby, has violated Rule 11B by either knowingly making false allegations about Mr. Carter and the amended complaint, failing to conduct an adequate investigation into the complaint's factual allegations, or at minimum failing to withdraw the complaint once it became clear that numerous allegations in the complaint are false and the other allegations therefore at least highly suspect. So now I'm talking about the 2000 Video Music Awards where plaintiff was drugged and R-worded at a celebrity party. NBC News journalists determined that a number of allegations were either false or highly doubtful. For example, paragraph 44 of the complaint claims that a party occurred at a large white residence with a gated U-shaped driveway. That was approximately 20 minutes from the VMAs by car. But photographs show that after the VMAs, Carter attended a party at Lotus, a nightclub in New York. So he's saying Jay-Z was never at a house after the VMAs. There is a thing though where people go to multiple parties. Like there's multiple after parties. Like they go to one and they're like, all right, let's go to another one in like an hour or two. Like that's a thing, but who knows? Paragraph 60 states that after alleged assault, plaintiff's father drove to pick her up, but her father has no recollection of doing so, despite the fact that it would have been a 10-hour drive round trip to retrieve his 13-year-old daughter from a random gas station. And he cites an NBC article. I remember hearing that her dad had no recollection of this. I was unaware that it was a 10-hour drive. So he would probably remember that. I mean, yeah, it's 24 years old, but still, your daughter's 13. Any reasonable father would probably remember that night, right? Having to drive 5 hours to go pick up my daughter at a gas station drunk or something. 60% of you aren't subscribed. Come on, hit the subscribe bell. Paragraph 46 states that the plaintiff spoke to celebrities at the alleged party, but when journalists pressed her at which celebrity she spoke with, she named a person who was in Chicago that evening performing at a concert. I mean, yeah, Spiro is doing a good job listing some inconsistencies here. Paragraph 40 states that plaintiff watched the VMAs on a Jumbotron. In fact, photographs from the evening show there was no Jumbotron, as New York City has denied MTV a permit. And the same paragraph says plaintiff approached limousine drivers at VMAs, but video shows that the limousine area was cordoned off by police and inaccessible to fans. So what do y'all think about how Spiro's doing here? I don't think the judge is going to do sanctions though. The judge ain't going to be down for this. He's going to let this play out how it plays out. By any objective measure, the fact that nearly every step in plaintiff's narrative narrative, from her arrival at the VMAs to her interactions with the limousine driver and celebrities to the ride with her father, turn out to be false or highly unlikely, casts considerable doubt on plaintiff's allegation that Mr. Carter R-worded her, which he did not. Confronted with those glaring red flags, a competent and ethical attorney would not only omitted the many erroneous allegations from the complaint, but also completed a thorough and careful vetting of the core assault allegation before fixing his or her signature to the complaint. Abiding by that ethical duty was especially important here given the defamatory character of the assault allegation and the near certainty that the complaint would generate massive publicity in the light of the identity of the defendant, inflicting irreparable reputational harm and forcing him to explain to his own children that he had been falsely accused of assaulting a child. And conducting a thorough inquiry, and particularly critical as here, the plaintiff has no corroborating witness for her account and claims that she did not tell a soul about the incident at any point in the last quarter century, including her father, who supposedly picked her up. I didn't know that was part of her complaint. She told no one in over 25 years, including her father. That could be why her father doesn't remember, because clearly any father would probably make her go to the police, and he just saw it as, I have to drive 5 hours to get my daughter. But it appears that Mr. Busby failed to conduct any such inquiry, that a reporter was able to undercut almost all the events of plaintiff's narrative just 5 days after the FAC was filed only highlights the complete lack of investigation undertaken by her own attorneys. A simple call to her father, a review of publicity available video footage, and footage from that night at and after the VMAs, a review of a publicly available property records would have quickly revealed the implausibility of her allegations, but Mr. Busby has all but admitted that he declined to undertake such basic investigation. Wait, so he didn't admit that? Where did I see that then? I read so much the other day on I thought Busby already admitted that another firm or some other people did the investigation for him. I could have swore I read that in my last video, but I don't know, I read for like 2 hours. When confronted by NBC News journalists with a series of false allegations in the complaint, Busby sought to cover for his utter lack of diligence by claiming his client would undergo a polygraph examination, an offer he seems to have abandoned since making it weeks ago. And he passed the buck, stating that another unnamed firm had vetted the allegations, and that Busby Law Firm would continue to vet plaintiff's claim and collect corroborating data to the extent it exists. Okay, so I was right. I thought I was going crazy for a second. So he did blame it on another unnamed firm that vetted her. Not a good look for Busby, right? That is entirely improper. It was Mr. Busby's responsibility to conduct a factual investigation of allegations before he signed, not afterward. And he cannot evade the core ethical responsibility by relying on the work of other attorneys who did not sign the pleadings and are not associated with this firm. Although Mr. Busby claimed in a statement to the journalist that his firm had interrogated the plaintiff intensely, she admitted to the journalist that she had made some mistakes and was guessing about key details, serious problems with her account that Mr. Busby would have uncovered had his firm actually interrogated plaintiff. Instead of conducting a thorough investigation, Busby filed a complaint setting forth one of the most serious allegations of criminal conduct imaginable, with a publicity campaign on social media and elsewhere based on an uncorroborated claim of assault that relied on easily disprovable factual narrative. I remember the judge saying, though, that he doesn't like how Spyro kind of says stuff like it's fact all the time. Like, the judge said that. So he's probably not going to like some of this. And he doesn't like how Spyro is naming Mr. Busby directly and doing personal attacks or whatever. So Spyro might be pissing off the judge even more here. Who knows? Given the horrific nature of allegations in the FAC, every day this inadequately vetted complaint remains in the docket causes extraordinary harm to Mr. Carter, his family, his businesses, and his employees. Especially when a complaint alleges conduct that is defamatory per se, attorneys should not be permitted to destroy a person's reputation by alleging facts without sufficient investigation or failing to withdraw those allegations once it's clear they are false or exceedingly unlikely to be true. Carter respectfully requests that this court vindicate Rule 11 by immediately dismissing the FAC against Mr. Carter and imposing an appropriate monetary sanction or fee award against Mr. Busby and the Busby Law Firm. So Spyro wants Busby and Busby Law Firm to pay with a big old fine, boys. Court should impose Rule 11 sanctions for Busby's filing of the amended complaint and refusal to withdraw it. They're saying he violated Rule 11B. Conduct a reasonable inquiry into the facts and law before filing. I mean, Busby straight up admitted he didn't do that. He said another firm did it. If that's true, that's definitely not good for Busby, right? Comment down below, please. Let me know. When an attorney learns that after filing a complaint that factual assertions are false, Rule 11 and the rules of the professional conduct mandate withdrawal of the claims. Busby did not even contact one of the witnesses both he knew had access to, her father, who was more than willing to discuss the matter with NBC News. This NBC News interview that the Jane Doe did and the father of the Jane Doe did was a terrible decision. I said that in my last video. What were they thinking? If this was all a big lie, why would you go on an interview right now? It's the worst time to do an interview. Does she not have lawyers advising her not to do interviews right now? Mr. Busby is a repeat offender. October 14, 2024, he filed a different complaint on behalf of an anonymous John Doe against Mr. Combs that also contained easily disprovable allegations. For example, the complaint asserted that John Doe has never been married, but CNN reported the contrary. He was married and his marriage purportedly ended after the alleged incident. That's information that any attorney could obtain during an introductory meeting with his client by simply asking questions about his marital history. The complaint also asserted that Doe was assaulted in 2006 in the Hamptons at Mr. Combs' white party. But again, CNN revealed that the white party was held in St. Tropez Diaz in 2006 and in the Hamptons in 2007. So he had the year wrong for one of the John Does and the whole Diddy stuff apparently. Something Mr. Busby could have learned through a simple Google search. It was only after CNN's reporting of these errors that Busby filed an amended complaint changing the year of the purported assault to 2007 and the detail concerning Doe's prior marital status. So he just amended the complaint? I mean, they could be errors, like simple errors, like he said he wasn't married and had the wrong year, but those are pretty big errors, right? This is not a contract dispute or patent case. This is an allegation of child R-word. To sign a pleading accusing someone of such horrific crime without adequately vetting the allegation, when the defendant's prominence means that the allegation will repeatedly be in the headlines across the world, is deeply wrong and unethical. If lawyers not face consequences for the effort to destroy another person's reputation and inflict emotional harm on his loved ones, that tactic will proliferate. Signed by Alex Spiro. Interesting. So that's pretty much it. I don't think the judge is going to do sanctions of any kind. So that's my honest opinion. Comment down below what you guys think. Hit subscribe. Love you guys. Peace out.